What's up, everybody on YouTube? It's your boy, the Memphis XLRA, coming at you with a deck profile for Infinity Danger 2020. And everybody knows we got ourselves some new Infernity cards. They're nice. They're pretty nice. They're not perfect or anything. They're not, free cards. No, they got restrictions on them. I don't like that. Old Infernities, they didn't have no restrictions, but I guess they needed them. Regardless of that, here's our deck profile. We, of course, got our one Infernity Archfiend. Please put him to 2, Konami. We got ourselves a 3 Infernity Necromancer, an Infernity Avenger, Infernity Mirage. We got 3 Infernity Wildcat, 2 Infernity Conjurer, 3 Danger Mothman, a Tour Guide of the Underworld, a Danger Jackalope, a Danger Tsuchinoko, 3 Infernity Patriarch, and 1 Infernity General. Spells include our 1 Infernity Launcher, 1 Into the Void, 3 Lair of Darkness, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, Card Destruction, Upstart Goblin, 2 Infernity Paranoia, 3 Called by the Grave. Traps are 3 Infernity Barrier and 2 Infernity Suppression. As for our extra deck, we have 1 Infernity Doom Dragon, 1 Trishula Dragon of Ice Barrier, Void Ogre Dragon, Borlode Savage Dragon, 1 Herald of the Arclight, a Clearwing Synchro Dragon, Clear Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. We got ourselves Infernity Archfiend, Brionac, a Saryuja, Curious the Lightsworn Dominion, Wee Witch, Mech Knight Crusadia Astrum. We got IP Mascarena, as well as a Sigabagusk. The rest of this side deck I'll go over in a moment. So like any good Infernity deck, this deck is all about swarming out some monsters and looping Infernity Archfiend. We have many means of doing so, but first let's go over the new guys. Infernity Wildcat, very good new tuner. You can special summon it from your hand by ditching an Infernity monster from your hand to the grave. You can ditch another Wildcat, which is amazing. Sadly, you can only special summon it once per turn this way. Come on, Konami, don't you understand? Infernitities are supposed to have no restrictions. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm just saying it's a very nice card. You can ditch any of your Infernities, be it Necromancer, Archfiend, Avenger, whatever, and summon this card. It also has a nice effect where you can banish monsters of the infernal variety to either increase or decrease its level. A very nice card. It's unfortunately you have to banish Infernities for it, but they just had to put that restriction on there, didn't they? But regardless, we also have the new Infernity Conjurer. If you have nothing in your hand, it weakens your opponent's monsters by 800 attack, which on occasion is useful, but it's most important for the fact that if you have nothing in your hand, you can special summon it from your grave. But of course, it'll get banished afterwards. This is good for synchro summoning. If you use it with Wildcat, you can use it for link material, whatever you want. So this is a card you want to get in the graveyard as often as humanly possible. Of course, that's usually what our dangers are for. You just reveal them in your hand, shuffle your hand around, discard a card at random. If it's the danger, their effects go off. If it's not the danger, you summon the danger, draw more cards. It's very useful. We go with Mothman because if he's discarded, both players draw one and then discard one, meaning you get the choice of what you discard. Of course, we also have Jackalope for searching more, and Tsuchinoko's mostly here for more link materials. Good on them. So as well, we have our Infernity Avenger, nice level 1 tuner. He can revive himself from the grave if your monster gets destroyed and his level changes to the level of the monster he summoned. If, of course, you have nothing in your hand, of course. We got Necromancer, amazing boy. He can revive Infernities from the grave. Levels do not matter. And, of course, his effect is not once per turn in any way, shape, or form. The only restriction is you can't revive Necromancer with Necromancer. That would be a little much. We also have Mirage, which is a very nice boy. You can send him from field to graveyard. Well, you tribute him, but you send him to the grave. You summon 2 Infernities from your grave. This helps you recur your Infernities for more links, more synchros, whatever. But I know what you're here for. You want to talk about Archfiend. He is the most important of all the Infernities. If this guy is summoned and you have nothing in your hand, you can just add any Infernity card. You're usually adding Launcher to start. And afterwards, you can add whatever you want. You can add your Omni-negating Infernal Barrier. You can add the new Infernity Suppression, which stops Nibiru and the like. It's a very nice card. You want to loop this thing as often as humanly possible with your Necromancer, your Mirage, your Monster Reborn, whatever it takes. Keep on looping Archfiend. He also has another nice effect, as I will show in a replay in a minute, is if you draw him during your draw phase and you have nothing else, you can straight up special summon him, trigger his effect. It's a very nasty thing. So there's our monsters, as well as we also have Patriarch. Don't want to forget this boy. So this boy, if he's the only thing in your hand, you can special summon him, which is nice. What also is nice is you can banish him from the grave to protect Infernity monsters from being destroyed by battle or card effect. This is not a once per turn effect as well, so it's very nice. I mean, granted, he only has the once per turn on the special summon thing, but that's not a big issue. So he's good, again, for synchros, links, whatever you have it. Good for emptying the hand out if he's like the last thing in your hand. All's good there. So, as well, let's talk about Infernity Launcher, the most powerful objective Infernity card. Basically, you can use this effect. You can ditch an Infernity from hand to the grave for nothing. It doesn't do anything there. But the second effect. The second effect is thus. You can send this card from field to grave to special summon up to 2 Infernitities from the graveyard. It's a very, very powerful effect. You recycle your Necromancers, your Archfiends, your Patriarchs, your Wildcats, whatever. You just keep bringing them back. I really wish that Infernity had, like, I wish they had a card that recurred this. Then we'd be talking. Why didn't this recur? Infernity Launcher, I have no idea. But we'll get into that in a minute. So yes, Infernity Launcher, Infernity Archfiend, they're your main go-to boys. You always want to get them. You always want to be looping your Archfiends. As well, we got Into the Void. If you have 3 or more cards in the hand, draw 1 card. End phase, ditch your whole hand. This is useful for not only getting more cards, but at the end phase, if you do get stuck with cards for whatever reason, you ditch them all. That way you have nothing in the hand and your effects are all live. Lair of Darkness, just a standard sort of draw engine sort of thing. Just draw 2 cards, banish one of your darks. You usually want to banish something you have multiple copies of, being Patriarch, Necromancer, Mothman, Wildcat, things like that. Never banish Archfiend because then things get bad. Monster Reborn, I don't think I need to explain how that one's good for this deck. Foolish Burial. Interesting card, just ditch a monster from a deck to grave. You got Conjurer as a target, Archfiend if you can revive him. Also got Infernity General. This guy used to be pretty bad with Infernities, but with the new support, he's actually a decent one of. You can banish him from the grave, if you have nothing in the hand, of course. Summon 2 level 3 or lower Infernities from the grave. Sadly, their effects are negated, but it's still a nice little bit of recursion. Bring back 2 monsters, synchro them, link them away. Whatever it takes. So it's a nice little thing. You can just Foolish Burial that away, discard it, banish it, doesn't really matter. So he's a one of. You can do whatever you want with him, but I put him at 1 and he does all right. We also have Card Destruction. Just ditch your hand, ditch your opponent's hand, draw a new hand. This is useful for getting things in the graveyard, you know, getting cards out of your hand that you don't want in your hand, whatever it takes. Get into cards you need more important. You got Upstart Goblin, just an extra draw. The new spell, Infernity Paranoia, is so close to being godly that it's ridiculous. So this spell is that if you tribute a dark monster to summon an Infernity from your deck or grave with the same level but a different name, sadly its effects are negated, which is sad because I would have really liked it if I could have summoned Necromancer from the deck, used his effect. But this is a useful card for getting out Archfiend, because like I said, you want to get this guy out as fast as possible. So if you got to tribute Mothman or Patriarch for this boy, that works. You can tribute Necromancer for Wildcat or Conjurer if you get impermanence or some such. This card works fairly well. It also has a nice effect that you can banish it to get an Infernity back from your graveyard to your hand. You can't do it the same turn it's sent, which is why I'm not using Foolish Burial Goods, but it's still something. And lastly, for spells called by the grave, just to stop our opponent from, you know, stopping our draws and such, as well as stopping hand traps. As well, we got our traps of the Infernity Barrier. All you need is nothing in the hand and an attack mode Archfiend, or not Archfiend, but just any Infernity, but 9 times out of 10 it'll be Infernity Archfiend. Then you get to negate a spell, trap, or monster effect, and then destroy the card. Very nice thing. But let's talk about the new trap, Infernity Supression. This is a very nice card. Nothing in the hand. You can activate this card the turn it is set, which is amazing right there. When your opponent activates a monster effect and you have an Infernity monster, you can negate the effect and then burn your opponent for damage equal to that monster's level time 100. So basically, this is your anti-Nibiru. So basically, you just play this, set that space down after you've set some stuff, set your launcher. You know, you flip your launcher, you start, plussing, keep going into your combos, combo. Your opponent attempts to Nibiru you, you flip up suppression and negate it. It's also just good for negating whatever monster effect. And it's really nice that it doesn't require your monster to be in attack mode, so you can just use like Necromancer with this thing. So it's a nice little thing. I don't play it at 3, but 2 I find is fine. So extra deck-wise, we have the original Infernity Synchro, Doom Dragon. He just pops and burns, and I just mostly run him because he's kind of funky looking. We got Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, because we can make it in this deck with a few things. Both our level 1 tuner as well as our level 3 tuner. It's something we can make, and it's a one-of, so there you go. We got Void Ogre Dragon, nothing in the hand. You're going to get a Spell Trap. Basically, this guy was the boss of Infernities in the 5Ds manga or something. I really wish his name was Infernity Ogre Dragon or something, because then he would be like much better. But it's still something. It's a card you make on occasion. Just negate and spell traps. It works just fine. Borlode Savage Dragon usually works better later game when you have a bunch of links in the graveyard. I don't think I need to explain Borlode's effect and all that. But basically, it's here to help you negate even more stuff. Herald of Arclight, you can make on occasion, combining Infernity Necromancer with Avenger. Just gives you a bit of more of Omni negation. Just tribute this thing. Negate a spell trap or monster effect. Also, it's a Macrocosmos. Any monster sent from hand to the main deck to the grave, banished. It's a nice thing to floodgate your opponent. You got Clear Wing because you got level 3 tuner now. Level 7 synchros are good. This thing negates level 5 or higher monsters' effects on the field, which is restrictive, but it's still something. And of course, on occasion, we can make a Crystal Wing by combining our crystal, I'm getting the names mixed up. There we go. Combine Clear Wing with your Infernity Avenger. It works just fine. You combine those. So let's talk about the new synchro, Infernity Hell Archfiend. He's a nice boy. He's okay. I like him. He's level 6 synchro. He's got 2,200 attack points. He can target a face-up card, negate its effects till the end of the turn. If you have nothing in the hand, you can then destroy that card. I really wish this was a quick effect. If this had been a quick effect, this card would have gone from a 6 out of 10 to an 8.5 out of 10 in my book. So, yeah, basically just target a face-up card, being whatever, a monster, a spell, a trap, negate it, pop it. So, also, if this card does any battling against monsters, the damage gets doubled. The damage is doubled when Hell Archfiend battles. So that's an interesting thing. Just gives it, extra damage output. And if you use this guy as synchro material for a dark synchro monster, then that monster can attack twice on monsters during each battle phase. Which is cool and all, not too relevant, but, it's still something. You're mostly using the first effect to negate and pop stuff. We also got Brionac for those occasions when you'd only have Wildcat and Conjurer, and you just want to discard stuff in order to, get your hand gone, bounce some stuff. It's one of those cards, just like a one-of tech card that I find that works well. You got Saryuja because we can swarm fairly well with this deck and just draw more cards. And then, of course, put the cards back in the deck. Just get the cards we want a little bit faster. Curious is a little bit of a tech card of mine. You summon him with 3 monsters with different types, but the same attribute. So basically, any of your Infernities, 1 Mothman, 1 Jackalope, or 1 Tsuchinoko, you just combine these lads together and you make Curious. Curious's effect, you ditch any card from your deck to the graveyard, then you mill 3 cards. If this guy gets destroyed, then you get any card from your graveyard back. A nice card for ditching Launcher, and then if Curious dies, you get Launcher back. Or whatever you need. If you got Launcher already, you can ditch Archfiend. You can ditch anything you want. That's the nice thing about him. He's not as easy to make because, again, we need different types, and most of our monsters are fiends. But if you can make him, he's rather helpful. Wee Witch, as well as Masquerader, are mostly here for Avramax. Wee Witch powers up dark monsters and also recovers darks when it's destroyed. Masquerader gives Avramax destruction protection. So there's a bit of a thing there. And on occasion, you will find a hand that isn't agreeable. and you can't do much with it. But if your hand gives you 2 level 4s, you can make a Bagusk, and you can set on the Bagusk for a bit. Just be like, no monster effects, except for Link monsters, of course. So I play Bagusk at 1, and I find it works just fine. So there's our main deck. Let's go for side deck tech options. Because Paranoia tributes monsters, you could consider Lair of Darkness. Tribute your opponent's monsters to get out Infernities. Obviously, this requires your opponent to be spaying, specific monsters and such, but it does work on occasion. Combine, Arma, Arma, that guy. Combine that guy with Lair of Darkness, and you can occasionally, make something out of Infernity Paranoia. That's just an idea I had. And I've heard some tales about you playing Phantom Knights with this deck, and I might try that in the future as well. And it does make sense. You can special summon these lads from the hand fairly well. Use them as links, use them as Xyz material. Get out your Fog Blade. You can use Shade Brigadine. So, if you want to experiment with some Phantom Knight nonsense, take out the dangers in favor of them, go right ahead and give it a shot. I chose to go with dangers because me and dangers, we got a long history together, and I like to respect them for all the good they've done me. So there's my deck profile, everybody, and I'm now going to leave you with some nice little replays where I duel just some fine people good on EDO Pro. So thank you guys for watching this deck profile. Remember to smash like if you enjoy the new Infernity support, and do enjoy these duels.